Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Darcy's Misadventures with Mixed Media. And I had sort of a request to do something with black and white pages. I think she is thinking like doodling, but I'm not sure exactly how one would doodle on this. But adding color is something that I would want to do if all I had was a black and white printer. And so we're going to test some things out. But of course, this was like sitting on my desk, so I have to try this because I think this might look kind of cool. So, say you like the black and white and you just want some pops of color, well, you can always just add your colorful, other colorful book page bits that you've got. And I was thinking if I just wanted to kind of tuck that behind this a little bit, that I could just trim around here. And then just kind of tuck that in there. Nope, with this, I gotta go a little further in. You know, I want to. So I figured before I forget about this, I thought I would go ahead and do that. A little bit further down. Of course, you might want to cut a little bit more neatly than I did here. Of course, I can just go through in now and just even that up. It got a little rough, but the flower is going to cover that gap anyway. So I can go in and fix that. And then that's kind of cool with the black and white with the color popping out. And then if you were to like sew your pages together or glue your pages together, because you didn't do double-sided, because I hardly ever remember to do double-sided, then you can, you could glue, or you could just put a pocket on the back. You know, because you just have this little bit, or you could collage something on there, however you wanted to cover that. That's kind of an interesting thing to do, and you keep your black and white. All right, I'm going to save this one in case I have any more ideas like that. So this one, let's go ahead and maybe this one. Test some things. Now, if you're going to use a marker, you definitely want your marker to be semi-transparent. So a Posca pen is not going to be your friend unless you want to totally cover something, for the most part. Like, there's these leaves right here. Well, of course, now it's going to be semi-transparent. It's not usually. So, if I don't have a lot of, you can't see that. I need to do something bigger. Let's do some of these petals. I mean, that's on the gray. You can't really see a lot through it. Let's see. This one is white with some gray lines. Also can't see a lot through it. But when it was really light like that, before the paint started flowing, it was pretty, it was actually being semi-transparent. This is a dual tip oil marker that I got at 5 and Below. Is that the name of the place? So, like, I could take the one side and do some of the leaves. And it is semi-transparent or translucent. So you can see the lines behind there. But with the oil marker, there's the smell. Same with Sharpies. It goes through. And then I've got the Tombow markers. Let's see, this is about the same color. And they are also translucent, I guess I should say, maybe, or semi-transparent. So you can still see through that. So then you could kind of use these pages, especially like this page here, as coloring pages. It's a little harder when there's like the animals. They don't look quite right. Like for me, I couldn't get the colors quite right on the on the squirrel, and it was kind of bugging me. And then this on the gray, a dark. So lighter colors will show underneath a little bit more. But I want to show you light and dark and just some different things. Now, I printed these on 32-pound premium paper, and I've let them sit for a few days. Oh, shoot. I left the glue. I did. I left the... You saw that, too. Probably. If the glue was sitting right there where you could see it, you'd be like, Darcy, you didn't put the cover on your glue. Fortunately, I don't need my glue right now, but let's get the cover on there. So I'm hoping I could use watercolor on here. We'll see. We will see. Now, also, I did not clean my water, so there's going to be that issue. So we're going to get, it's going to be whatever color my water is, basically. Let's see. Got a little brush right here. And maybe take a little bit of green. And see how that does with the, that was not enough green. Right now we just have water. Now some printers, this is an inkjet printer, so some printers, no matter what you do, you're going to get it running. But the nice thing about watercolors is that they are translucent, whatever the word, semi-transparent, translucent. So you can still see the lines through. And you can try heat setting, like, use the heat gun on your ink to try to set it. Don't know if that will work or not. So that works nice on the leaves. And the other reason that I might like the watercolor is just for the background to have... Oh, wait, let's do it on a couple of these leaves, too. Now, this is only working probably because I used the 32-pound premium watercolor, premium paper, and I have instant ink, HP instant, whatever. And it seems like it's a better quality ink. But usually I would have, all kinds of bleeding. But I don't today. But I gave it a couple days to dry. Probably like 3 or 4 days. So, if you have the right paper and the right ink, watercolors can work. Same thing probably with sprays. Let's see. I had one. I just need something plastic. Sad, I know. Something plastic that I can use just to put a little spray in there, and maybe even a little water. I had the water yesterday. I put it away. That's like magic. So if you want your color a little more diluted, you want to add a little bit of water. If you want it stronger, just leave it whole, like that. And I'm just trying to think of what people might have on hand. You could also use your inks. I'll show you that in a minute too. And just add a little water to your dry inks. So this is just like doing it with watercolor. And if you have a nice small brush, you can, or you could probably even use one of the watercolor thingamabobs. I have some, but they're just not at my desk. All right, I don't want to waste that. Let's see how this smushes. Man, I put it away again. That was weird. We'll smush a little corner of this with some ink and see how that does. Like I said, it depends on your, then you could have some gray and other colors showing through, and you still have the pattern showing through. That's the important bit. Okay. And chalk pastels. Well, my other ones are way over there, so this one's just a tint. where's my other ones? These are kind of dark, so I'm not sure how well they'll do. And these are the soft pastels. Like the pan pastels are extra soft, way softer than the other ones. But the other pastels should work as well. The more chalkier ones that, you know, they say they're soft, but they're chalky. But I did use that on another paper, I think, and I was able to see. And then if you want it to set and not move around, then you could use some, let's see, the gal that I watched used linseed oil, but I used Gamsol oil because that's what I had. But these pastels stick a little bit better than the pan pastels and the chalk pastels. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, and then there's the, see, this one's translucent, the glaze, so that should work on something as well. Oh, and a Sharpie, the bronze Sharpie marker worked really great on the, oh, I should have gone and got it. I'm not sure where it is. Worked really great on the coffee beans, but I'm thinking this could too, actually. So, like, you could just take a little bit of your glaze and let's try it on, let's try it here to, you know, I mean, you can do this any color, but I have coffee. I could have done the coffee, but, you know. Now, you don't have as much control over the getting to the edges with your finger, so you probably want to use a brush for that. But, I mean, it's a translucent glaze, so it's going to, and it's not super wet. That's the other thing about having this poopy color on my finger. Brown! You can't say it's not. All right. Because it's thicker, so it's not quite as wet unless you add water. This has some water added to it now. So that's an option if you've got some eye inks laying around. I mean, I say it's more dry, but see, it's wet over there. So that added a tint to that. I had a wipe over here. What else? What else? I did some Sharpie markers upstairs, and they were semi-transparent. Wait, what's that? Black won't be. This is like a really dark blue. I don't know that that's going to be as transparent. No, the dark, you want to go with a lighter color, but for some reason the bronze was really good on the coffee beans. I mean, I tried to go really light with it. I tried not to go super dark. Let's try a metallic marker, see what happens. I think it's pretty. No, actually, let me try it on where there's some white here. See if some of that shows through. Yep. So the lines are showing through on this particular metallic casemate metallic markers. They came in a case. They came in a set. So it's not super dark, but it might be at least dark enough that you could come back through with, does this one work? Oh no. Okay, so that you could come back through with a fine line. This one's actually 0.03, so it's fairly fine. And follow your lines to give it some more definition. And then, you know, you don't have to be exact, but at least if you could see it a little bit. Then you can, I don't know if you can see that or not. My light is not great because it's so sunny out today, but I'm not going to complain about the sun. I'm definitely not going to complain about the sun because it's like 32 degrees and windy outside, so I'm appreciating the sun. You can see that it did kind of cover the marker a little bit yeah, the fine line. So it depends on how heavy you do it too, I guess. And then just come back through. Maybe do one petal at a time so you can figure out where it is. Well, and also you might want it to dry or you ruin your it doesn't like wet. That's the... Don't ruin your markers like I do. You know how many markers I ruined? So yeah, so you can, you know, color and then, you know, try to figure out where your color went. And then I wanted to see about just some paint. It's opaque, but if you do it really, really thin, that maybe it would work. Of course, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes a little water might help. Working with brushes is not ideal because I have a lot less control when I do that. Let's see, we'll do this one. And of course, to do any pen work with this one, you definitely have to wait for it to dry completely. What else was I gonna try? Did the watercolor. I did this. Oh, I was gonna do some ink. I have them right here. Now, oh, the oxide is gonna be opaque. You could try a thin layer of it and see. Get that. I don't want to get that blue on there. But so like you can try. Might be better to go ahead and smush it on something and then add a little bit of water and then kind of use that as a, let's see. Well, if you're doing it watered down, it might not be so much bad, but of course if you don't have the same luck with inks not running as I do when I use this paper, then it might not be so great. So that was saltwater taffy. Oh. So that was an oxide. Let's see what it looks like on the background here. Just adds like a tint, but you still see the pattern through, which is nice. This pattern would be a fun one to doodle on. Like you could even use your... See, some of these pages work better for doodling than other pages. Like the burlap itself might be a little hard, you know, you might not want to doodle on, but you might want to leave it gray or whatever. And then the other bits, you know, you can easily come through and just add black and white pen work and add your own lines even. Like, see, there's this shadow here. You can kind of see there's like dot line, dot line, dot line, dot line. Goes this way. You can just kind of little dots. Where the line's darker, make it darker, add some deeper shadows. You could do that with black, or you could do it with one of your pens. This is the... Well, and the other thing about my Tombow markers is if they get wet, they will run. So there's that too. But say you didn't want the whole, say you like the black and white look, but you wanted just a little bit of color, you can come through and do that. But the Tombow markers, so any marker, like Crayola would probably work as well, will work well. This one's the oil, so it goes through. Not sure that your Crayola ones will go through. I have Crayola ones somewhere. Hold on. I know you thought I'd be bringing over some Crayola markers. I don't know where those are, but I do have some. Nope, these are just pencils. Well, I got a thought they were watercolors. That's all right. That's a blue. This is a, well, it needs to be sharpened, but you get the idea. So colored pencil would probably be perfect because it would be semi-transparent. You have control over shading, and it, you know, won't lift like the chalk pastels would. And you can do lines over, but you don't have to. And you can, yeah, like I said, you could work on the shading where those darker lines are. Just make it a little darker there. You know, if your pencil was sharpened, it would be even easier. And then and that way you don't have any wet media either. And even if you went over this, it would just give you some color. So yeah, I think colored pencils may be your best way to go. And then, oh, I was going to, where did it go? 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 I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. But you could take one of your Tombow markers and just kind of follow the lines. Or, you know, it doesn't have to be a paint pen. It could be just a marker. Let's see. Crayons I don't know about. I guess I had some oil pastels here. Where'd they go? So this is an oil pastel. So if you were to use that and smudge it with your finger, you can still see the pattern through a bit. But you just can't do a lot over that. I don't know if you can do a micron over that or not. Not that micron. Nope, can't do that over it. But if you have one of these oil pens, you might be able to. Yeah, the oil pen will go over it. I don't think a Sharpie will. Let's try the Tombow. Yep, the Tombow seems to go over it as well. And they stay in place, the oil and the Tombow. So if you did oil pastels, you're just limited on what you can doodle over that. I'm not even, I mean, you might be able to do the acrylic. And then give that a minute to dry. So yeah, those are just some tips. Look, that's like shiny now, the glaze. The glaze is kind of cool. Let's see. So any glazes, transparent paint. Do you want to see transparent paint? I mean, chances are, if you only have a black and white printer, you might not want to spend money on golden paints either. Or maybe you do. I don't know. So in case you have some, what in the world did I do with that cover? Who knows? All right, let's just find one of these brushes. And just get a little bit of this paint, which is a transparent paint, but it's dark. So like I said, painting on these is a little more tricky, especially if you're brushes that are, I'm not a good painter. I'm a decent cutter. See, that's why my flowers, even though I'm not a good painter, my flowers came out halfway decent in that last video I did. So yeah, transparent paint also works. All right, so I hope that helped. See, the oxide's a little chalky. Oh wait, I was gonna do a distress ink too, right? All right, and then this, you can see that I did get wet on here. So my color, I actually get color when it gets wet, but for some reason, where I got it wet, there's a little bit of spatter and whatever, but yeah, this green here, that's where it got wet with water. So even though I use the premium paper, I still had issues. All right, let me use my brush here and see how this does. So yeah, you could just, if you wanted to just get some color on the background, and it was a nice big background you didn't have to worry about edges to. Of course, when you got to the edge, you could just, you know, put a piece of paper there. And like, say you wanted that torn look, then you just use a piece of torn paper, and you'll get whatever the edge of your paper is what you'll get on the edge there. So yeah, dry ink. So I'd say colored pencils, maybe for a big area like this, a brush and some dry ink might be fun. Yeah, that adds a nice color. Well, even though it's over the oxide a little bit. But here, you can see it adds a nice color. The pattern goes away a little bit. And it also, you know, wrinkles up your paper because it's wet. So this was this Distress Spray. This is the dry Distress Ink. The Oil Pastel with some different things. The Eyes Ink Glaze. Colored Pencil. That was the oil marker. The metallic marker. Paint. This was the acrylic Posca pen. And I think, yep, that's the oil marker. That's the thing about the oil marker. It will go through. My Tombow markers went through a little bit. And then this was the oxide with some water mixed. And this was the Distress Spray, which you could also, the stain is pretty much the ink with water added. You know, so if you put ink down on and then spray with water, you can use your brush to do that. I forget what that is. It's wet, whatever it is. So you can see, actually this would be kind of cool on the other side. If you did all your flowers and they came through like that, that'd be kind of cool actually. That's not as cool. But that's what collaging and pockets are for. So I hope this helped. I think my biggest recommendation is colored pencils are your friend if you want to be able to see through and be able to doodle on top, and it's dry. So that would be my biggest recommendation for that. And then also the dry ink adds a nice overall color for something like that, especially when you don't need it. You know, it can be it doesn't have to be perfect. You know what I mean? I hope this helped. I hope you all have a delightful day. Thanks for trying stuff with me today. I hope you all, I already said that, have a delightful day. Love you guys.